Welcome to the Breakaway Artist Society. Let's go! An independent podcast for independent artists by independent artists.
Watch the show, y'all.
Welcome to the society. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast, formerly known as Artists at Work, and now we're just going to call it Breakaway Artist Society. Now we have a special guest from Richmond, California.
Yeah.
Hugo Monster. Who is this artist I'm sitting next to?
Oh, man. My name is Hugo Monster. I'm from Richmond, Cali. I've been doing hip-hop for quite some time now, and very happy to be here. I've been rapping. I just got to get the jitterbugs out and whatnot, so let the people know I'm nervous. But yeah, I'm from Richmond, Cali. I've been doing hip-hop. I got several albums on Bandcamp, on my website. And I'm just happy to be here, you know, and let the people know who I am through this platform. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Thank you for coming on. And just to let all the viewers know, so we met at a contest like event.
Yeah.
We won't mention the name, but it was a crazy time. And I just want to give you an opportunity to, I guess, speak on anything if you want to regarding that place, to kind of jump into the conversation of where we are now and where we were.
Yeah. So yeah, we were at a show, man, and you know as hip hop artists, we run into situations where the audio isn't, up to par or what you expect it to be, you know. And it wasn't our first. Well, at least I'm pretty sure you've had experiences where it's not the first time that things go haywire, but out of those situations, you end up making relationships.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, my second one where I actually it cultivated into something like this. The last time I think I was telling you about was with my friend Limit. We had like a horrible sex the first time I met him. And I think I kept bumping into his table, and
that's how small the space was?
Yeah, I kept bumping it. Well, I don't know. We were the stage was kind of small. I kept bumping into his table, and I just had I think one of my not so best sets, one of my worst sets probably. But after that, we ended up becoming friends, and now we got an album coming out, which I'm pretty excited about. And it's just trips me out how you can have these situations, and it just ends up turning into something positive at the end.
Yep.
I think that's what it's about too.
That speaks volumes too about the character of some of the people that were there. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of negative situations or just disappointing ones. Like, if we're all there for the same reasons, same goal for hip hop, for the music, it turns out to something beautiful, like you said.
Yeah. It's kind of like a meeting of the minds. You know what I'm saying? You meet at this place, you meet other artists. It's like going to school. You start here in high school, and then you go to school and you meet people who are going in the same direction, trying to get somewhere, and trying to make relationships, and trying to figure things out. So
I want to now give the floor to you to basically let people know, like, who are you, like, how you got started, and why does that matter to people? You know what I mean? Like, because like, we could always tell people, like, hey, I make music, but like, I feel like you have a very strong message in your music.
Oh, word. Okay.
But where did that start from?
On the way here, I was thinking about my dad. He always used to tell me that, tienes que tener voluntad, and for the longest time, I'm trying to figure out what that meant. But I think I always knew, but I just never correlated with the fact that it meant will, and then I'm thinking about, wait a minute, I think he might be right, because I have a song that goes like, Hugo Ma without will, you know what I'm saying? And it's always been kind of like a mantra for me, especially I'm a big fan of wrestling. And one of my favorite wrestlers, one time he gets on the stage and he talks about how how he's different from everybody else, and he says, not Hulk Hogan, not Bret Hart, you got the differences that I will outwill, you know what I'm saying? Like, put in that extra work, put in that extra effort to get to where you want to go. And it's not just in making the music, but everything surrounding it too. You know what I'm saying? Like doing this podcast or learning how to do photo editing, learning how to shoot your own videos, doing the extra work that sometimes can be annoying,
Tedious.
tedious.
Yeah.
It's like showing up to class and like the class is like 20% is attendance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and a lot of it like, you know, you can look at it like, I'm not gonna be there. Why do I have to be there on time? You know, I'm already I'm getting A's on my scores. I mean, A's on my test or whatever. And but nah, it's that extra step. And I think that's what shows your character. You know, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to like, because there's merits, you know, there's parameters that I think help you get to where you want to go, and it filters out the whack.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and when that happens, and if you're the person willing to like work hard to where you want to go, you can see yourself striving through that. You know,
Yeah.
but I grew up in San Francisco. You know, so I'm from El Salvador. I came here when I think I was 1 or 2.
Oh wow.
You know, and I went through preschool, through all the way up to 3rd grade in San Francisco. And then from there, we moved from the East Bay. We moved to San Pablo, and I was there until I found a house in Richmond.
Okay, we're gonna get into that. Yeah, I got some questions. I was listening to some of those lyrics.
And I've been there ever since. That's my home.
Okay.
You know, I went to Richmond High. I was there around the same time they did the Coach Carter movie.
Oh, okay.
So I knew Damien. It's a trip, man, because the movie all Hollywoods it up. You know what I'm saying? But they have to add the storyline where I think, like in the movie, like I think the principal was against the lockout. But in real life, she was for the lockout. You know, but other than that, it tripped me out because in the movie, you're like, there's palm trees in Richmond. Where the palm trees at? You know, because a lot of it was filmed in L.A. You know, and I used to like to joke around and say I knew Jason Tatum because that was our homie Will. Because there's a few white kids at our school, and Will was one of them. And I'd be like, oh yeah, it was him. You know, but yeah. So yeah, I grew up there, and then I started rapping. Actually, no, I started writing poetry in like 10th grade. You know, that's how I started off for me trying to write poetries to, you know, get at girls. 10th grade, you know, it's like, you know, and from there it developed into writing rhymes. I started writing rhymes around 17. I think it was senior year of high school. Like I had a homie named Pavo, or my friend Pavo, Juan, and Charlie. They were already rhyming and rapping, and these cats were like, it was like my house, and they were like on the next block. Well, Carlos was, and then up the block was where Juan lived, and we were like in this 3-block radius kind of thing. And so I end up doing music on a compact Presario computer on a Radio Shack mic, and I was rapping into this program called Cool Edit, which now is Adobe Audition.
Oh, okay.
You know, so at the time I was just rapping over, you know, beats I would download instrumentals from like Kazaa or, you know, Napster, wherever I could download a beat from that I could just rap on and you know, do my thing.
Did any of your friends make beats for you?
Initially, no.
Okay.
Well, initially when I first started rhyming, I think I had, well, yeah, Tito made like a few beats.
Okay.
You know, but other than that first record at the time, I think my name was MC Huey.
Okay.
MC Huey, and then the name of the album was called Unsigned Talent. You know, but or at the time mixtape, because it was just a bunch of beats that were, like I said, commercial beats I could find and I could rap on. You know, and yeah, and that I started rapping doing that. And then when I had the CD done, I ended up going to talk to Carlos and Juan. You know, like I said, they're like a block away. And I got my little CD and shit. And I go over there and I'm like, oh, hey guys, here's something I have. You know, like I've always been kind of the person that doesn't want to go empty handed.
Yeah.
I can't just say I rap. You know, I gotta have something that shows that shit.
Right.
You know, so but yeah, and then come to find out they were making music, but they were rapping on I think like on a mixing board where you had to like export the audio somehow.
Okay.
And this is like 2001.
Yeah, like print it, I think. Right?
Yeah, something like that. So and it burned onto a CD.
Yeah. That's oh wow.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and then after that, Carlos was into making beats, and then I started rapping a lot on his stuff.
Okay.
You know, and then Tito started making more beats. So about like 2006, I ended up making this album with original beats from Tito and Carlos. Carlos is Charlie Chingus, but
And these are your friends
These are
from high school,
these are
right?
my friends from
Or
high school,
okay.
friends I've known around the block. I've known Juan since I was in 4th grade.
Wow. Okay.
So and yeah, it's a trip, man. My grandma knew his mom, and my brother and his sister were friends. So
Mm-hmm.
and I think my grandma was Juan's sister's babysitter.
Okay.
So I would see Juan regularly, and Juan was always kind of like he was 2 years older than me, so there was like a
Yeah.
big difference. But I always thought he was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, I want to hang out with this dude. But he's 6th grade, 4th grade, and it's like, it's kind of weird. He's seeing doing other cool things
Yeah.
supposedly, right? So I would always
But
kind of
that's
be like,
cool though that you
yeah,
guys are still friends
yeah,
and
still making
he helped
tunes.
you like make
Yeah.
something more like, cuz when it's all original,
Mm-hmm.
it's all you, you know what I mean? Like, well, you and him, but
Yeah, there is a
it's
certain chemistry, a lot of comfortability, in our because we're friends,
mhm.
and so yeah, and eventually me and him we end up making an album together. We
Mhm.
become a group. I become his hype man,
Okay.
So that's what I was doing first before we ended up before I started performing my own music. I was his hype man, helping him remember his stuff when he forgot.
Mm. Okay.
But no, but at the time it was funny because even as his hype man, I would write the lyrics down.
Mhm.
That's how serious I was about it. Like, okay, I'm not gonna mess up on stage, and I'm not gonna remember unless I write it down.
Yeah.
So
That's the best way to memorize a
yeah,
song too.
yeah, and we're getting to a point I think where we have a lot of songs that we have to put the song on to remember it or pull out the lyrics and shit.
I'm
So
in the same
yeah,
boat.
man,
I'm
I'm like,
already in that boat. I'm like, man.
but it feels good to be in that boat, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, cool. Now I'm forgetting not because I don't know my lyrics. I mean, I don't know them, but it's because I built this big catalog, you
Right.
know.
So
But
how many years have you been rapping?
I would say, what am I in that record? I was 17 when I did that record. I'm 40 now, so there, yeah. So
Long
that
time.
time, long time, and I'm still learning, man. Still trying to, you know, still trying. It's like my whole thing is making sure that I build my catalog. I
Mhm.
write my music to the best that I can, and
Mhm.
and present it, perform it in the best way that it possible. Because
Yeah.
I take pride in that shit. Because it's one thing is fun for me. It's
Mhm.
always been fun for me. It's always been something that in ways invigorates me. Kind of like, okay, because I was never good at basketball. When I was in high school, I wanted to play basketball, but I'm
Okay.
Salvadorian. We're short, and so my aspirations to be a basketball player failed. So the next best thing I could find that made me feel good about myself was making music. And I wasn't always good too. I'm still getting better, but like there's a time where I couldn't get on beat.
Same.
I couldn't get on beat. I was writing my bars were way too long. I didn't know where to start, stop until I found the snare,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like the less words, the better. And even now, I'm still figuring out that sometimes, like me and Pablo were just talking about, like sometimes you might have a good recording, but you might flap on some word.
Mm.
Like I think I said slap instead of blab, or blab instead of slap, some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but everything else sounds good, So
You'd always like
yeah, let me do a little snippet,
little
you know.
yeah,
And,
jump in.
and then there's things I learned during the recording process that my homies have shared, like Pablo. He's like, what you could do is like you could record a whole verse, and then if you mess up at that part, just record the verse from the beginning,
Mhm.
and wherever that part stopped or we messed up, just cut it there,
Yeah.
and then mesh it together. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, because what I used to do is I would punch in,
Mhm.
but then the flow of
Yeah,
the energy of the
you have to match the tone, the
yep,
energy.
yep.
Yeah.
And I was
I
like,
think you touched on something really important that cuz like I think there's also obviously like a really big generation
oh
gap.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm 29, my husband's going to be 30, so
There you go,
we're young.
growing. Um,
But I think like what I've noticed a lot in the newer generations and a little bit in my generation where it's like we're fighting against the machine, right? We're fighting
mm-hmm,
against now it's like streaming, who can, get out the fastest single. Like the catalog, I think is something that is very important,
mm-hmm,
but the importance has been kind of like let off. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm.
I kind of want you to like speak a little bit more on why is it important to even build a catalog as an artist.
Um, it's important because we need to see whether you're an artist or not, right? You
Mm-hmm.
gotta have, like I said, you have to have something to show, you know. And if like, that's why I think albums are important,
Mm-hmm.
you know, albums, EPs, and not just singles, you know, or a quick 16 and then you're done, because you need to show, like, in order, at least for me,
Mm-hmm.
like to like really look at whether someone's dope or not, or if I even want to care to listen to it, is to see what they have out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yep.
think to say that this one person's just dope just because they have one album. I mean, the album's dope, but at the same time, I want more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's like, my homie's got 21 albums. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah.
And when I look at that, I'm like, it's important. You know, you can look back at the old albums and see how, you know, how these turned out. Were they that good? And you can see the growth.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you could use that as like measuring, like, okay, I'm getting better, you know, because I'm no longer using all these words. I've cut down some syllables here and there. You know, my hooks are better, my rhymes, my flow, my energy's a little bit better.
Yep.
So I think it is important to have a catalog for yourself to see where you're at, and also a catalog just because it also shows that you've been doing it. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason why you have a catalog is because you like making music,
Yeah.
right? It's like, it's not something that you stopped and then, you know, you're rapping 6 years later and you come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you've been doing regularly. It's a part of your being, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's your passion. You know what I'm saying? And I think it shows.
Yeah. No, it definitely. I think a lot of people need to hear that. A lot of artists coming up need to hear that. Also, too, like as a fan of music, it sucks when you find a new artist
Yeah, I
and
got
they
one
got
album.
like 2 songs out. They don't even
Uh
got an
huh.
album out. They just got
Yeah.
2 singles, and you're like,
Some of it's like bait and switch, I guess, too. Like the
mm-hmm.
other day, I think I saw LL do an interview, and then I'm like, oh man, why am I can't find the whole interview. I'm only able to find snippets.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Probably because
that.
it's behind a paywall. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
why.
exactly. You know, it's like they're trying to get you to get in. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, but it's that thing. It's the same thing you could apply to if you only have one album, you want more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's yeah, definitely.
Okay. I also wanted to draw back because on your song, I think it's Ill Intentions.
All intentions. Yep,
Not
yep.
the album, but the song,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Off Trial and Error. That's your latest album,
Yep.
right? In that song, you say a few gems, like,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the gems that stuck out to me is you're telling the listener like it's about like the importance is the composition as well.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
speak on that.
Yeah, it's like what you say is more important than trying to feed like an algorithm. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Trying to feed like, you got to remember that the biggest reason why you even making content or promo is because you're trying to promote this record. You
Mhm.
know, but the record is the most important thing. Like, you can't just jump and want to create content for something that you don't have,
Mm.
or promo or promote. You know, it's you got to make sure that the importance is in the music that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the heart of the whole thing. You
Mhm.
know, and I think people forget that. You
I
know,
think so too.
like it's you gotta be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this song gonna sell these amount of records? I don't know. Will it? Do I hope so? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I just want to get this bar out. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like if the rhyme isn't bringing you some kind of like happiness, or like some, you know, you like, I bet you've been in situations where you've written something dope and you're like, this shit's tight. You call up your friend like, hey yo, hey, Carlos, Juan, listen to this shit. And then, you know, for all I know, they could probably be like, okay, they put me on hold, and I'll just be rapping into the fucking phone. But you know, it's that kind of shit that the rhyme is supposed to give you. It's got to make you happy. You make a fire beat, like, ooh, this shit is tight. Can't wait to
Yeah.
hear how I sound on it, or how my friends sound on it. But it's like, it gives you that thing, man. And if it's not giving you that, then stop.
Mhm.
You know, it could be something that's like, if you like working on like like computers, you know,
Mhm.
if you like working on computer and it's your thing, that's your thing. You
Yep.
know, it brings something for you. But if you're looking at it as a way to like a jump off, or you're making it look like it's it's not about that, then it's gonna be obvious.
Yeah.
You know.
The essence, right?
Yeah.
The soul basically
Yeah.
in the music. Like it feels like that is kind of going missing
The passion's
in
not there.
yeah. And another like cuz like I watch a lot of YouTube, I watch a lot of different like
Mm-hmm.
talks about music and music creation, content creation, and one of the counters that kind of like what you said, but maybe you can comment on it. One
Uh-huh.
of the counters was one artist was saying, I don't even make songs until I make the content first. So he's like,
That's odd.
he makes the content
For
and
what though?
for
Yeah.
the for whatever
Yeah.
song, I
Yeah.
guess, like before the song's even written. And I'm like,
Is that
okay.
is uh-huh.
But like I think that shows a big difference of like who is like a genuine artist and who
Yeah.
is trying to get famous or viral or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. What's the real deal behind that plan?
mhm.
Yeah, because it's like it's like saying, I could see that maybe he's making content or promo to maybe brainstorm. Like, because we can brainstorm and not have a song yet, right?
Mhm.
Or we can have a bunch of rhymes that don't fit the song, but yeah, you're just jumping steps 5 when you haven't done one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's to step 5, but not one. And that's just odd. Yeah, and and there's a lot of things on these YouTubes where you see like jump your your subscribership to like 1 to 1,000 overnight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, man, that's not how it works. What works is steadily making music, promoting the music. It shit is not overnight.
Yep.
The slow race is the best race. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't jump the line. And if you do, then you're lucky. But then at the same time, you haven't built that muscle to constantly keep putting up that music to
Yep.
keep up with that subscribership.
Yep.
Once they realize you only made one song, they hit, and then you're gonna be like that. What we just talked about.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like where's
In that same
everything
song,
else?
you mentioned that about how people want a big like award or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever for minimum like effort,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. I do. Yeah.
That's
Thank
the
you for
same
listening to
song.
my shit. You're making
That's the
me
same.
blush.
Well, cause
Shit.
like when I was listening to the album, but I went back to that song because that one really you had like a lot of gems in that.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Like,
Thank
and
you.
I was like, okay, like I want to jump off some of these
Yeah, yeah.
questions because like these are like perfect for the
Yeah, man.
podcast.
Yeah, it's you gotta love what you do. You know what I'm saying? And you could like what I hate the most is like those videos are misleading.
Yeah.
You know, and they mislead maybe a person who has the potential to be great, but they're looking at this other thing like, okay, well, maybe if I finish the race that way, I could be that person. But reality is, this shit is simpler than what we really think it is. You write a song, you put it out, you get organized. Once you get organized, and you come with the plan, but you gotta have the music first. If you ain't got the music, then there's nothing to promote, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Also, one more gem, I guess, from that song.
Oh, word.
So you had mentioned that you were a homeowner at 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about that because, like, you say, what does that have to do with rap? But a lot of people are chasing a music dream to be famous so you could buy a house or buy whatever. But I think that speaks volumes, and I kind of wanted to just touch on that because that was an interesting bar to throw in that song.
No, it's funny, man, because man, I gotta be thankful for having a dad like I do, because my dad would or does, even to this day, he'll just look at me, and I know that it's like for example, when I used to live with my dad at our house, I'd be playing video games, and all he had to do was like open the door and just look at me, and I would hate that shit, dude. I would hate it. Like, why is he looking? Why can't he just let me play this level? You know. But what he's saying is like, go do something else. You're wasting your time. He came in the room one time. I was like, hey, you need to go buy a house. And I'm like, okay, how the fuck do I do that? You know, I mean, they've bought a house. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, they don't know there's no blueprint for that. You know, they just tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to figure this shit out. So I was able because I've been doing computers since I was 19.
Okay.
All right, so I became a certified computer technician when I was 19, and I was also going to Cal State East Bay or Cal State Hayward,
Okay.
Around that time too. At the computer class where I got my certification from was near my house,
Mm.
and I was getting a lot of it's funny, man. When I was doing my computer shit in that particular class, I was doing pretty well, you know. So it kind of like, well, I don't really need to go to college. If I'm doing well here, I'm already seeing how much these technicians get paid to do what they do. But now my pops is like, no, you got to finish school.
Mm.
You know, you got to finish school. It's like you can get easily distracted. You know, I'm trying to jump the steps per se, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but um, doing the computer stuff and going to college helped me find a job where I was doing pretty well for myself and
Mm.
saving money. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So yeah, and when it was time, luckily it's all circumstances too, because at the time it was a crash,
Mm.
you know, and
Okay.
I was able to take advantage of that, you
Okay.
know, and I'm very lucky to be where I'm at. You know, that's my space. That's where I create all my shit, hang out with my kids, my wife, and we're there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's I don't have to worry about that. With you know, and I feel very fortunate for shit like that. But that has a lot to do with my dad and his yeah, right here. I can see it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like even whenever I'm steering away, I see him. You know. You know.
That's love right there.
So, and it's crazy, man, because he'd be telling me that shit like, tienes que tener voluntad. And I don't know what the fuck does that mean, Dad? And you know, but like, it's so engraved with me that what I've been saying in my whole life. I say it in that GGT song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will outwill. And that's like, I ain't got to be the best. I ain't got to be better than that dude. All I got to do is make sure that I'm prepared. I remember my rhymes. I rehearsed in my head burst like I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
and just go for it. And then
Yep.
if it don't, and if I fail, then hey, I did all the shit, all the prerequisites before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Thank
Shout out
you.
to my mom too.
Yeah. Shout out to your parents. That's awesome.
Yeah, so, but yeah.
But I also like I just thought that was kind of a gem. Like you just threw that in there. You're like, what does that have to do with rap? Like you're asking yourself that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm like, that speaks a lot because like, yeah, like me and my husband, we want to buy a house. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that we want to own something. We don't, you
Yeah.
know, we're tired of just renting. We want to have our space and own it, you know.
Yeah.
And that I think that's where the art comes in. Like
Mhm.
at least that's something we can start with is like we have drawing, we have music, we have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just something that it's ours.
Yeah, no, for
You know, it's a
sure,
good
dude.
start.
For sure.
But do you want to talk a little bit about that album too? Because I know I just touched on that
Yes,
song, but
trial and error, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that what is that, mine? I like to say it's like my 22nd album, so I can beat Pavo. But Pavo's the dude with 21 albums, so he actually produced that whole record.
Okay.
So
It's dope.
yeah,
It's dope.
thank you.
The
I
beats
let
are
him know.
clean. Yeah.
Yeah, so he started making beats because you know he couldn't wait anymore.
Mhm.
You know, he started making his own beats. He became his own machine, learned mixing, learned mastering, all that shit. All the shit that I find like hard to do. Like, dude, I spent like 4 hours trying to mix a verse once, and I was like, you know what, fuck, this ain't for me. I
Yeah.
have to send this
It is
off.
tedious.
Yeah, and the thing about for me with that is like, in my mind, it sounds good, but I'm not a mixer. I'm not, and that's gonna bother me because it's like it sounds good to me,
Mhm.
and I don't want to present it. And maybe this is me getting in my own head, but I don't want to present it to someone and have them say that the mix is whack and not listen to the song.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a good mix, and the last thing anybody needs to care about is how a mix sounds.
Mm.
You know. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Pavo started making beats, and he started sending me some, and I was like, send me some more. And so during that time, he sent me like 10 beats. Well, he probably sent me some more than that, but 10 beats is what I ended up doing for that. 10 songs is what I ended up doing for that album. But the
Okay.
album was cool because it was with my friend. I've done albums with my other friend Carlos Charlie Chinggis, you know what I'm saying? But Pavo is different because it's like he's a rapper too,
Mhm.
you know, and that's where we connect.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, you know, we've been on stage together. You know, I know his words. Like, it gets weird sometimes where I'm saying, we'll have like we're talking on the phone, and I have the same punchline to a conversation that we have, right? We're like, oh, I was like, oh shit, I was about to say that shit. Or we finish each other's words. It's very weird. But that's us, man, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that album's dope because at the same time I was working on this new album that's coming out. It's called Checks in the Mail.
Okay.
And there was like there was a halt in that project. And when the halt came, I was like, fuck, I need to drop something. You
Mhm.
know, that's when I started rocking over Pablo's beats,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's how that came out, you know. And then we had and that song, that album's very special because that's when that's the second feature I have of an artist, you know, that's been doing music, been in the game for how long, which is Illogic.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, the first person that ever you know, that there's a star in my eyes, you know, is Tion Buku One.
Mm.
You know, like growing up, well, I guess I'll tell you this story before I lead into that. But
Okay.
growing up, Tion was or is he was this dude who knew Carlos. I think Carlos got into like some bad stuff at school, so they put him in like in a program where they were teaching him shit. And then one of them things was graffiti, and Buku was one of the teachers. I
Oh,
might be
okay.
butchering the story, but this is how I remember it.
Okay.
You know, and so Tion would come around, and I think Tion introduced Carlos to the MPC, and Tion was out there doing tours, you know, hanging out with AC Alone, and managing Dell and
Yeah.
shit like that. And
Dang.
the first time I I ever got to meet him was like at a bowling alley in 2010. I came in there. I was like, "Hey, Tion," because I don't know if he knew of me, but Carlos and Juan would Pablo would mention him to me. You know,
Okay.
and a lot of times you believe your friends, these motherfuckers ain't telling him shit about me. You know, but anyway, I end up meeting him, and then we end up building a cool relationship. You know, and then one time he invites me over, and it's with the homie Cabez, and then we're at his house, right?
Okay.
And then we're like, all right, we're gonna do a song, you know. And mind you, you know, Pablo Juan already got a song with Tion, you
Okay.
know, and this is when Pablo was Zayas. He was a big Planet of the Apes fan, and he was this song's been going around, you know, on my playlist on my iPod at the time, playing it like, oh shit, you know, this is the song Zayas and Buku One, you know, it's like, because Buku's big to us, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So then when I'm at his house, he's like, okay, we're gonna do the song now, and I'm like, okay, all right. So this is probably a test. He's probably, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to write here. So you know,
It's
we
always nerve wracking when
it
you have
is,
to
dude.
write
It's like,
on
oh
the
shit,
spot.
yeah. I was like, okay, but you know, you don't let it show. You're like, all right, okay, cool.
Got
But
it.
inside, you're like, fuck, man. I hope this shit sounds dope, but I'm gonna go for it, right?
Yeah.
And so then we end up he plays the beat, we write it, and then we go into the garage and record it. And that shit was dope. That was one of the moments where I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. You know that, and then to this day, Tion's always, you know, he on this new album, he also did a video, man. So and he's done some graffiti spots for me. You know, he knows my kids. He's
Hmm.
you know he's the man, him and Eula, man. So, but yeah, and then for this when Trial and Error came, my biggest second feature is with Illogic.
Hmm.
You know, and that shit was tight because you know, when he heard of me because I submitted like a song to his show,
Okay.
right? And this song was called like The Seminar. And then you know, he really liked that song. It was the only song that he gave a 10 out of 10. And I was like, dude, I'm listening to that shit, watching it, right? And I'm like on my back with both my kids putting them asleep. I see, right? And then I'm watching them with the phone right here, and it's like, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to wake these dudes up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wake them up. But I was so juiced, you know, because I've been going to these contests, man. I've been going to like I think I did the team backpack, you know,
Oh,
like
no way.
you're trying to like participate.
Yeah.
But never was I like called up or whatever. But like I always did those things because I always felt like, okay, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, it's a highlight. Maybe you know that, and I can add it to my my library of blogs on my website that you can go see. Oh, Hugo's been doing this since this time or whatever.
Hmm.
But it was tight. I thought it was tight, and you know, it just never came to fruition. And now fast forward the future, you know, we kind of could do that shit on our own.
Yeah.
You know, we got our own little mini platforms just like this. But
Yeah.
yeah, so then I did that with a lot. So I hit him up. I was like, hey man, would you I got this song. Like the song's already it's already done.
Hmm.
It already had 3 verses, but at the same time, I was like, I'm tired of my voice on the 3rd verse. And then
Hmm.
I think the song kind of falls off too. And let's see if he wants to fucking do this song, you know.
Hmm.
So I sent him the shit. And then he gets back to me. He's like, yeah, definitely. Gave me the shit back in about a week. And I
Dang.
and then we had it, and, you know, and then I'm waking up to it because they're on the East Coast, right?
Okay.
You know, it's 12
Mm.
o'clock. I'm waking up at like 9 or 8 or whatever. And then, you know, I'm sending it to Juan. And I'm about to send, because Juan's mixing the album too, right?
Yeah.
And I send it up to him, and he ends up putting it together, sends me back the next day, and that shit was tight. And I was like, and then after that, I end up asking him he wants to do a video, and then I asked. I think at first I told him I want to do a video and I want to see if Blueprint wants to shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
So then once I confirmed with Blueprint, then I told Illogic, hey man, I want to come out and do a video. He's like, let's go. So I went to Ohio.
Oh wow. Okay.
To shoot a video with them cats.
That's down.
Yeah, dude. Like I've never been to the East Coast. Dude, the furthest I've been was Texas. By the way, Texas is hell long. You be in Texas for like days and you still in Texas moving. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was over there and it's a trip. I meet up with Blueprint first. And me usually I'm kind of like, when I meet my rappers that I know, I'm like I get like in my own head, or like I get nervous, man. I get fanboyed. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm meeting these motherfuckers today. So I met him and it was cool, man. We shot there on the Friday and then we shot Saturday morning and then we finished Saturday evening. And I was there from Friday, Saturday, and left Sunday. And yeah, man, it was dope because that led me to hip hop. Took me to Ohio,
Yeah. Have you done a lot of traveling for your music at all, or just?
I've done a few 2 tours. So I've been Dez from the Madhouse took me to my first tours, man. Okay. So yeah. So
up and down Cali or outside state?
I went to so Denver. I've been to Colorado. That's the same place, right? Colorado.
Yeah.
Denver, Idaho, Utah, Texas, Arizona, Albuquerque, I think.
Yeah, all the hot states.
Yeah, super hot, dude. And then Texas, and then I've been in San Diego and did some shows in Los Angeles.
Okay.
But yeah, like I have ambition to do shows in the East Coast eventually, So I'm striving for that.
That's a whole nother jungle over there.
Yeah, man, I want to see how I hang over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I like, man. Let's see how if I can rock this crowd. That's the thing about when you go on tour, like no one knows you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No one knows you. You could be whatever over here, but when you go over here and you're in front of these people, you make sure that you don't waste their time and you give them all your shit. So it kind of like you see how your music, not just your music, but how you on stage translate. You know what I'm saying? So one of the cool things I saw, because I watched a lot of the episodes on this show.
Okay.
Like one of the dudes that you had on here, I think he was from Santa Cruz. He was talking about a good way of getting I guess comfortable on stage or getting comfortable with stage presence is karaoke.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's dope.
Shout out Nima.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's a perfect way. Because then you get all the nerves out.
Yeah.
Dude, they always had this one place in El Cerrito called Melodies. I never got the chance, but I always wanted to do like the first Ninja Turtles theme song at the end of the movie of the first movie. Because it was a hip hop kind of song.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man, there's so many different jumping points that.
Oh yeah, I'm all over the place.
I could jump into because like there's just so many questions I have for you. But I guess to start with, since we're on the topic of like just traveling and doing shows, what is like your experience like growing up with Bay Area hip hop? Because like I've been doing a little bit of research since maybe like 4 episodes ago. I've since we've moved to San Jose, basically, like we've been so far away from the Bay, and now we're just like in it.
Yeah.
Like we were like in Gilroy, which is like all the way to the South Bay. So it's like we're out of the loop. But once we got here, I started kind of realizing that it's interesting how Bay Area hip hop is kind of like in a bubble. We're like in our own little sphere. And it's different from other like LA, for example, or you know what I mean? Like especially other states, obviously, but even just like LA. But like, what's your experience kind of navigating through the Bay Area hip hop scene?
I feel like I'm still trying to navigate. Like a lot of the time, I feel like you got to find your tribe, your crowd. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I feel like it's you got to find people who do common shit. Like I think our music is similar, so that, we could build off that. Or like a Senor Gigio or like a Pavo or we fall in that category like that underground hip hop scene over here.
Yeah.
And I think trying knowing how you fit. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you can't do shows where the songs that you're doing are similar from the actual act, the main act. You
Yeah.
know, the headliners, because then you kind of throw off the audience because they're not really, if your music is not similar or within that realm, it's not gonna turn out well.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of the time is you just gotta know where you fit in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and a lot of that shit is trial and error. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is okay. Maybe this is not my crowd. Maybe I should go over here. You know what I'm saying? What helped me a lot now that you bring the memories is like going to open mics.
Okay.
Going to open
Yeah.
mics. Sometimes I do like and that'd be a trip, dude. I go to a open mic where it's just poetry and I'll be the only one rapping. And I'll be like, I don't know if that went well, but they clapped, you know. But I went back a few times, you know, and then you go to showcases. That's why another thing too, like you go to these showcases to see how it works out, you know. And there's times where, you know, you've been in shows where there's like hella people on the ticket and it's like all different kinds of hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the acts are just the artists and we're really there just to listen to ourselves, not really there to, you know, build off of this particular moment. You know what I'm saying? So I think you just got to know where to go, and a lot of the time it's hard to do that because honestly I don't think we know where to go until we get there and figure out that this is not working. You know,
Trial and error.
yeah, you know,
Shameless plug.
yeah, you know, but
Go
yeah,
check the album out.
thank you. But yeah, it's man, yeah, because I've been about a part of horrible shows where I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is my crowd, but you know, it's just it's like even it's probably like that everywhere else too. You know, it's like you it's the vibe of the city might not necessarily your music might not fit that. You know, but when you go somewhere else, you might find other cats to do the same music. So I think the best thing to do is go with people that sound like you and work with them and try to do shows like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the best way of doing it. You know, but,
Well said. All right. So jumping off that, I'm curious too, because like there's not too many artists that I come across that present themselves in a professional way. They tend to not have a website.
Yeah.
And they tend to not do really much else other than music.
Make the music. Yeah.
So I would like to just kind of give you the floor as to like maybe talk about a little bit why you think like having your website is important. Like it's pretty like obvious of why,
Yeah.
but there's some artists out there that don't know. But
yeah.
I think it's important because your website is very professional. It's nice, and the way you present yourself, the way you communicate is very professional. I kind of want you to just kind of speak on that and give some people some game on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because all right, so when I went on your website, right? When I went on your website, I noticed that you only had a few tabs. And then I went back to my website. This is before I redid it, right? I was like, I got too many tabs.
I redid it last night. So
Oh, yeah.
I took away a lot of tabs.
Yeah, so I had too many. And your shit was like clear to the cut. Blog, breakaway artist, who you bio. And I was like, music. And I was like, yeah, I can think about where I want to go and just click. You know, so yeah, so I was just trying to make it as even cleaner or be more specific, be more what's that word, where direct, give people not, you know, lead people in the right direction without having to fucking think. You know, but having a website is important because it's your place where you put all your shit. If Twitter goes down, there's a lot of shit that I also learned from Super Duty, but like Twitter goes down and all your social medias go away, all your website's still up. You know, you pay for hosting, you know, all your shit is still there and you could do anything on that thing. You could like one of the big things I did after watching your thing, I did a whole tab just for the action figures. You know, I did a whole Montoys thing.
We're gonna talk about that too.
Okay. Like I put that there and I realized, I was like, yeah, man, I could do anything on here. I can blog, you know, I have a little segments there where I'm writing, and a lot of it was just to also get better at my writing. You know, it like sometimes like composing emails well, you know, because I'm doing that shit every fucking day. But you know, it's pretty much my platform. I can put whatever I want on there. I can see who comes visits. I can see who buys my stuff. I get all their emails. I can see where most of my traction is coming from. All the analytics. Do I know about it to a T? No, but I can have an idea at least where to go.
Yeah.
You know, am I missing out maybe because because the traffic is coming over here and I'm not paying more attention to that? Maybe I am, but at the same time, I'm still trying to learn how to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I built that thing by myself, trying to figure it out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it looks great too,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had that thing since 2012. And then the first day I launched that shit, that was hella juice. I
That's
was like,
good.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Google likes the longer your website's up and it's consistent.
but yeah,
It looks good.
thank you. But it is important because you need to have a space to showcase your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like you need a space to record, to do all your creative activities, you need a space to showcase that shit that's solely yours and you're in full control of that.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, and thank you for peeping that, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always good to get other eyes because then because a lot of the time, dude, there's no real place where you can get constructive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
so
know.
when you meet people that are doing the same shit, like okay, then maybe we can learn off each other.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You could tell me, oh, how about you do it like this? You go, hey man, it's too messy over here, too many words, too many tabs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah. So I think it's one, like I said, it's important to have it so you can tell people where to go. You can put anything you want on there. And it's one spot. All my music is right there.
Yep.
Instead of sporadically all over everywhere. They can't,
Yep.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have it that way, but have one place that you can directly go. Just go to hugomonster.com.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
And also like the whole thing with streaming too, like I don't think a lot of people realize, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but we don't as artists we barely make anything
Yeah.
for streaming unless you're
That's
like super crazy popular like Taylor Swift, which no one is, like realistically. You know, we're just making like not even a half a penny. It's like, you know, point whatever, but
that's why. And the thing about the West, you can put your physical stuffs up there.
Yep.
You know, and having CDs for your show, making sure, even like, I don't know about you, but sometimes like I fight this thing in my head that tells me like, no one's gonna buy this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have to bring my stuff, you know, and I have to, you know, make sure that it's available for people to buy. You know, because it's work, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's our CDs. It's how we present ourselves. It's my resume,
Mhm.
kind of. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. You could put anything up there.
Yeah, stay ready.
Yeah, man.
So now let's talk about the action figures, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that like threw me off. I was like, what is he doing with?
Yeah, man.
But it's kind of cool though, because those are all like collectibles, right?
Yeah,
like,
I've been collecting for a hell of a long time.
let people know what like the action figures. What is that?
So I've been collecting action figures since shit, man. Dude, I used to have all the 4 Ninja Turtles, and then remember for Christmas, me and my brother Rigo ended up getting 2, and I got 2. I forget which ones, but we used to like, you know, play with our toys, and that was my way of getting creative.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of the time my dad didn't let us watch TV during our summer break.
Mm.
You know, he'd make us copy the encyclopedia. Like, I'm serious, like there'd be like encyclopedias, or we'd have to read it, you know, and then we'd have to report back during the summer and shit. So, but also one time I ended up telling, hey Dad, can I just write my own stories? So then I would act out my stories with my action figures, and you know, make scripts for them. And if I didn't have the action figure, I would just draw it and then cut it out and, you know, make it happen.
Yeah.
But I've always liked them. You know, I always felt like they're like in some cases, like when I walk into my action figure room, my garage, and I see them, they give me a sense of pride because I got everyone on my own. You know what I'm saying? You know, they're mine. I showcase them. You know, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, the Turtles, Batman, and the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've always liked how dope they look. Because I mean, when we were kids, they look cool, but as you get older, they get better. Like one of the things, one time I was at dinner with my wife, she tells me, yo, Hugo, what would you tell your younger self? And I'm like, man, save your money. The action figures get better. You know, and she's like, oh shit, yeah. But yeah, it's something I like, you know, and I like talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a lot of the cats I watch online, like Unparalleled Universe or The Amazing, like the way it's a trip to find people who like the shit as much as you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes like even with hip hop, but like they like it, and like you know when they like it because they're like, oh, you know, they get excited about certain things, and then like you find that community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when we were kids, we didn't really have that much, you know, but then you get older and you're like, oh, you collect. Oh, that's dope. Which ones you got, man?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you start getting hella deep into it, you know, like you start getting like soft goods, like clothes for them. Like they're practically Barbies, dude. They're dolls.
They're action
They're
figures.
dolls, man. But you start, and then you learn people start doing their customs, So yeah, man, it's something I always like doing. And most recently, I've been doing a little bit more reviews,
Okay.
just to one, get them out the box,
Yeah.
because I got so many that are in the box right now. But my thing is, like, once they're out the box, I want to put them up, I want to pose them, but
Okay.
I also want to showcase them, and it also helped me get better with the camera,
Yeah.
And I learned I learned the lighting, or like how much, how much lighting to put on a figure so it doesn't get overexposed. So it's helped me with that, and then also that's helped me with getting a little bit more confident with just shooting myself.
There you go.
So.
So you're just showcasing them. You're not like putting them up for sale or anything.
Oh
You're
yeah,
just...
I sell them too.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so I sell I sell I sell and I trade. For back in like 2002, I was selling a lot because I just had too many, But now I have a stock of some that I just want to get rid of. But yeah, not like a total seller, but if I have some, I'll sell and I'll trade. Like I'm on Mercari,
Okay.
And the
Okay.
funny thing, anytime someone buys an action figure, I always put like a CD of mine, a sticker in the
Hey,
box,
there you go.
So
The opportunity.
yeah, one time some cat was like, "Oh, hey, I know about you because you sold me a figure and I saw your CD in there, and that's how I got to know you on Instagram or whatever." And I was
That's
like, "Oh shit,
cool.
tight." But yeah, man.
Okay. That's interesting because I was curious too on like what inspired you to even integrate that onto your music website too. You
Oh
know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean? Like with the
Uh-huh.
with me in the podcast, I was like, should I separate it or should I
Nah, dude.
combine it? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like it's kind of like GGO too with his art and his music.
Yeah, because
Like
you feel like they're separate, but it's you.
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. So I had the same problem because I was like, okay, uh, um, I'm showcasing my toys, but I'm keeping it separate from my music because for some reason it doesn't mesh. But then it does. I'm just hesitant to do it because I don't think it works that way. I
Mhm.
haven't seen it work before.
Yeah.
So um I did an artist session with Blueprint, and it was like, yeah, man, you got to figure out a way how to to integrate, and then because it's in there,
Mhm.
like this next album is called Checks in the Mail, and that
Mhm.
shit is inspired by fucking Spider-Man,
Okay.
and it's like growing up, he said he turned into the Black Spider-Man, and he's he's getting into the villain's face now. He's like, oh, I'm gonna just mess y'all up,
Mhm.
and then he throws somebody over he's holding somebody over the balcony, and he's just crushed. I think it was Shocker. He crushes his his weapons,
Okay.
and then he's like, you're gonna pay for this. He tells Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's, well, the check's in the mail, baby.
Oh.
And that shit always stuck with me as a kid. That shit always stuck with me as a kid. So now I was like, that's what I'm gonna call the album. you
Okay.
know and then it's lately it's been working, where I have, like, for example, at the end of the action figure review I do is my song called Montoys. That's what it's
Okay.
called. I talk about collecting action figures because it's always been there. I just haven't put it together.
Okay.
you know
I like that too, by the way, like how you're not afraid to like share that side of you.
oh,
You're
word,
like,
thank
nah,
you.
this is cool. Cause like the only other like person I can think of that is like hip hop head, but also
Hmm.
a nerd is like Logic.
Oh,
You
okay.
know? So he's like all, he has his little toys and everything everywhere. But like I think it's cool when you can have a commonality outside of music
Yeah.
too. And that
Yep.
kind of also brings people into the music like, oh, that's cool. Like this song was inspired by this and da da
Yeah,
da.
dude.
Like,
And come to find out, the dude that I've been watching online, Unparalleled Universe, he used to MC. I was
okay.
like, oh shit. And then during COVID, Pharoah Monch, he got into collecting action figures. And I was like,
Okay.
this is dope. And like, I'm not the only one. Why
Yeah.
am I tripping? Like, I'm not the people do this shit because they like it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and if you got a genuine, liking for that or love for that, it's gonna show, man. And it's gonna show when you don't, because that
Yep.
shit is like, right now I got some Ninja Turtles I'm just waiting to take out, but I'm like, I gotta make sure everything's cleaned up,
Mhm.
but I just get excited to, I walk up in there like, oh shit, these turtles are tight, so
You can
yeah.
hear it too in the reviews like so we're going to switch gears a little bit.
Hmm.
I want to ask you, do you consider yourself an independent artist and define that for us?
Oh man, shit. I 100% feel like an independent artist. Yeah, because it's I'm funding a lot of this shit. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And I'm putting a lot of the time. Um, and it's not just making the music. You know, for example, like this next, even with the trial and error, like I did something different this time. Like I had the videos done before I had the before I put the album out. The record
Okay.
was done. I had 3 videos for it already, and I had kind of like a plan. You know, so you know, it's it's me, you know, shout out to Sackcentric, working with Sackcentric, making sure that, you know, I don't know how to shoot videos. I
Mhm.
can shoot a 60-second video. That's cool with me. I'm happy with that. It's not like we're mixing. I'm like in my own head about that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. And I'm okay with paying somebody to do that for me, you know, and yeah, I am 100% independent artist. You know what I'm saying? I think what makes you that is one, I'm composing my music, and one, I'm pushing my music, and yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining it, but
Yeah.
I don't. We put in the work other than just making the music, you know. And even like for example, this new record it's on a record label. It's on Spit Slam Records. It's on and executive produced by Chuck D. You
Okay.
know, so it's like
Shout out Chuck D.
you know, and it's a big deal. Like I'm like, oh shit. But even though I'm on that label, I don't expect, you know, to like not do nothing. Oh, the label's gonna take care of it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Nah, man, you gotta, como se llama? How do you say it? Like, you can't be the only one working. Like, people can't be working in front of you and you just standing on the wall.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
nah, my dad, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta participate. You gotta put in the work for your project. You gotta give it wings, you know. And I think that's what makes an independent artist is pushing the record, making the record, you know, trying to figure out how to get these pep records in people's hands, how to make people listen,
Yeah.
making videos. You know, no one's out here, you know, like doing this for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there's help, of course. You know, I'm not saying that I'm alone,
Yeah.
but you know, I'm spearheading a lot of this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one thing I realized during this process is like, okay, you get the album, you got the producer, but like there's got to be someone uh giving kind of making not necessarily giving direction, but moving in a forward action. Okay, all right, that's getting done.
Like a
It's getting
project manager.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
All right, so the album's done and mixed. Okay, I'm done with that. Now what can I do? I probably can make videos while it's in mastering.
Yeah.
So or I could make promo like
Yeah. There's
so.
always things that can be done.
Yeah,
And
dude. And like with this next album, dude, it's like I'll show you off air, but it's basically like I have like a whole campaign, like a whole
okay.
schedule. Like I'm saying when I announce it, this video drops.
Mhm.
2 weeks, this other video drops. The day I drop the album, another video drops.
Okay.
And in between that shit is other shit like you know the podcast clips of me interviewing my friends who were involved in the project.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's a lot of shit, but it's all done. Like if I were to do it, I can't do that shit overnight. It has to be done in pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Scheduling, like, okay, I wake up early now. I'm up at 5. You know what I'm saying? One, because the kids gotta get ready for school, and I gotta be, I gotta have them out of their beds by 6:45. Otherwise, the whole shit goes out of crazy, and it's gotta be prepared, man.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the album. Like that shit has to be prepared. So by the time it's in the process of being pushed, it's all I gotta do is just do stories about the shit that I already posted.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's and I've learned a lot. You know, like learning how to put it in the right formats. Do I know like the details about the the kilobytes or whatever? No, I
Yeah.
don't. But I know that hey, I got this to post. I know enough to get it done.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's important to just even have that energy to even
yeah, dude,
like,
because a lot of people don't have it.
it's a lot
They
of
look at you
work.
crazy, like,
Yeah.
what you doing that for? I'm not doing that. And then, you kind of like, well, hey man, I'm trying to get my shit as many wings as possible because I definitely feel that I have something here. And
Yeah.
I don't think no one's gonna do it for me, and I don't expect anyone to do it for me. So I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm telling you, like, I don't want to be old and be like, I should have pushed it harder. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that one anymore. I don't, because that shit bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nah, man, I pushed that shit as much as I did all that shit for it. I'm good with the results.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think
Yeah.
that's super important just for I think, people to hear, because it's you're coming from another generation, but you have like what a lot of us younger generation we need
Mm-hmm.
reminding of,
Yeah.
to have that energy, to have that, like, because we're told different things of how to push our music, how to
Yeah.
get things done, but realistically, like, you have to do the work. Like,
You do.
if you can think of it, like, just try it out, do it. Like, so then you don't have to be like, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and we got a lot of people don't even like. You got to be like real honest with yourself. Who is expecting an Hugo Monster album? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I'm not trying to hate on myself, but like be real. Like no, nobody is. So why am I worrying about the shit that's not necessary? All I could worry about is pushing. All right, this is what
Yeah.
I can do. You know, because it's not just 10 clips. That's just a plethora of shit. It's like 50
Yeah.
plus. You know, and it's
Mhm.
like, okay, you know, for the longest time, I was like in my mind, like, how am I gonna create this shit? What can I make content out of?
Yeah.
You know, and now it's like it's coming out of me so easily, and I'm like,
It's the simple
okay,
things.
yeah,
Like, we overthink it, but coming back a little bit
mm-hmm.
to what you were saying, I think it's kind of like why I asked that kind of weird. It's like to me, it's like a little bit of awkward question. It's like, why should people care, like, who I'm talking to right now?
Uh-huh,
But I think that's important, especially like in just today's society, where it's like you have to tell people why what you're doing is important,
yeah.
why you are
Why
important.
should they care in the first place?
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
like, I think it's important, especially when someone's trying to be on the podcast, like, having a strong why
mm-hmm.
is
Yes, you were talking
important.
about that shit too.
Having a
Yeah,
strong why,
all
you
right,
know?
20. I think that was just you
Yeah.
and homie over here. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
That's what's up. I have two more
yeah,
questions
for
for
sure.
you. Um, what are some of the lessons that you could share with some of our listeners that you've learned through your music journey?
I don't know if it's pessimistic, but hope for the best, but expect the worst.
Mm.
Uh, but if you're prepared, you be okay. You know, prepare, man. Preparation will take the stress off of things.
Mm.
You know, so I would come up with a game plan, and sometimes you don't even necessarily even know what the fuck you're gonna do.
Mhm.
All you know is like sit down one day, assess what's been working, assess what's not been working. It could be simple as like, okay, let's say you're a show person, you throw shows. Okay, there's no reason why we should be starting the show at 11:30 when people come in between 9 and 10:30.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So be honest with yourself. No one cares about it's not even that no one cares, but that time frame that you're choosing is a time when no one cares. They're ready to dance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta assess where you're at and how you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? That's why a catalog is important. So you can look back and be like, okay, I can see why people weren't listening because I was offbeat.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So and like rehearse for your stage shows. Like I said, preparation, like, you know, like and be mindful of people's time. Like
Mhm.
those people are there. And a lot of time it's hard to get those people out there anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's like be prepared. Don't waste their time. You know, be kind to folks. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever go on stage. Like one of my things is don't diss the crowd. You know, like you're up there because, hey, it's your time to do your thing. Give them, be out, be
Yeah.
done. So I think I guess when I think back about it is just be prepared, be respectful of people's time. And, don't always think that people are there just to see you, man. Just appreciate the time that you have
Mm.
and do your thing. Like the other day, I was watching Cats Rock, and sometimes like they get off stage and rapping the crowd. I've done that too, but I'm like, man, it's so hard for me to get on stage. I don't even want to get off stage, during a performance. You know what I'm saying? So, keep striving, but like I said, preparation, man, and it shows, man. Even people's time. Like imagine if I came here late to this thing, you're already kind of like.
I be like
Nah,
that.
peace, Hugo, right? But it's real. It's the same thing with work.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
set this expectation. You have your work ethic means a lot. You can be on time. Are you gonna submit the thing? Am I
Mm.
gonna have to hound you?
Mm. Mhm.
I can see my dad. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure my shit's here before he gets home from work.
Mm.
But but um, but yeah, it's you kind of kill yourself when you come unprepared and you expect things to work the way you have when you haven't dedicated the time to the craft.
Mm.
And that could be in anything that you do. not being like doing even like I keep using the school analogy, but it's taught me a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know, like it took me a minute to get the fuck out of school. Like I finally graduated, that shit was good. I left the degree at my parents' house. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit was, it meant a lot to me to get it done. Because that shit was like am I ever gonna get the fuck up out of here? Like I saw my friends graduate. You know, and I'm like there 2 more years, but I finished that shit.
Bachelor's or
bachelor's.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so yeah, and it's like you got that, you gotta finish. You cannot finish, Hugo. You cannot. You got yet like you don't know where the song's gonna fall, dude. All you're in control of is giving that shit its moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you ever write songs. I know there are obviously some songs that are better than other songs, but you probably gave that song, every song, the same amount of effort. You never said, yeah, this is all right.
Yeah, why even put it out?
Nah, you were like, this is good. You know, whether people like it, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's as best as I could write it, just like that other song. But this one just happens to hit more, and I don't know why. But yeah, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on our podcast. Thank you for sharing all this important knowledge. I think this is important. There's so many gems. I'm excited for this. Where can people find you? And your music. Okay,
HugoMonster.com. You can find everything there. HugoMonster. On all my socials, it's Hugo Monster with an AH. The only reason is because ER was taken everywhere else. And if you hashtag Hugo Monster with an ER, you see a bunch of people's dogs.
That's weird.
But yeah, so everywhere, just for consistency, everywhere is just Hugo Monster. You know, so yeah, you know, and yeah, I got a new album dropping out. You know, so I'm really happy about that.
You got a release date?
Yes, I do. It's October 18th. And it's Checks in the Mail, produced by my man Limit Break, and featuring my man Pavo. And I'm very excited about the project. I'm happy. It's what I've been creating all the promo for. And yeah, man. And thank you.
This is an independent podcast. This is the Breakaway Artist Society. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Hugo Monster. Links will be in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Yeah.